Ram Krishna. So today we're gonna start with the lattice vibration and phonons unit 2. Um, so let us start from the uh, contents. Today's contents: introduction on a brief introduction on what we're gonna study: vibration of atoms, sound waves, phonons, lattice vibrations, balls and spring model, symmetry in K-space. So in the earlier class, we have already discussed about the introduction about the lattice vibration, but here is a brief description of the introduction, what we're gonna understand in the next few minutes. So in this, what we understand or what we need to understand is how does an atom vibrates based on their vibration, how it interacts to their neighboring atom. Not only the interaction, how does these wave energy is being propagated through the parent atom as what it got disturbed. So in the sense, how an parent atom or the atom where as a 0 point case an atom gets vibrated, how it interacts with their neighboring atom and how it distributes their energy so such that it can vibrate in its own position or mean position, and it shows the harmonic vibration among the lattice Miller plane or lattice point. So here is one such example. You can see N as an atom where the parent atom I can consider it gets disturbed or vibrated. So the distribution of these vibration will be given to its left of the atom, I mean left side of the atom as well as the right side of the atom, which means it's a periodic connection between one atom to another atom, and these connection could be made of an ionic bond or a covalent bond or the bond. In general, it is a bond, and these bond in this case it will be acting as a spring. So hence hence we can consider it as a ball and spring model. So balls are nothing but the atoms. Atom it gets vibrated. The vibration is being distributed among these spring, which is connected to the neighboring atoms towards its left side as well as towards its right side. The towards its left side, as we can see from the presentation, we have been denoted it as n minus 1. Towards its right side, it is denoted as n plus 1. The center atom is considered to be n. So here, how does a real crystal get disturbed in the real point of view? The atoms in a crystal are not in a rest, so indefinitely, but they move from one lattice site to another lattice site with a discrete jump. So the influence of such jump could provide a suitable gradient in the form of an energy. So this generates an internal energy and give up two different important concept. One, the vibration which is generated within the atom. So that is considered to be lattice vibration. The second point will be the kinetic energy, how it is been given. I mean, liberated. So these are the important concepts which we need to understand. Okay, how does the vibrations of atom occurs? In what scenario we should understand these kind of vibrations? So general phenomena or general scenario which we need to understand is electromagnetic radiation, which I am going to consider in this case. You can see from the presentation. So I have taken the electromagnetic radiation where the frequency varies from low to high or high to low, whatever it could be, where the variation of frequency can be understood. So in this case, I can consider from far infrared to UV region, or generally considered to be UV region. So how the IR region promotes the atom to vibrate on its own mean position, and how the UV region or UV range can make the electron to transit from one region, one lower energy to higher energy level. So each and every frequencies have their own set of vibrational energy which can be provided to the atom as an excitation energy. So these excitation energy varies from one electromagnetic radiation to another electromagnetic radiation based on their frequency. As we know, the frequency is directly related to energy. So this energy is a vital parameter for an atom to get vibrated. So you can see from the PPT. So A, B, C, and E. I mean, there is one more in the visible region where all these things are different vibrational energy level provided as such based on the EM radiations. So there is one important paper which we can see from the. I have given the reference in the August where in that they have given a collective manipulation of with the terahertz radiation where a sliding of an atom can be seen, pulling, pushing, all these set of scenarios can be provided or observed based on the frequency which is being tuned. So the tuning of the frequency could also be seen in different forms. So this basically says that the excitation sources are very important. So lattice vibration at the surface is very important as considered to be a photon. Frustrated vibration, physio-absorbed, what we call it as a weak absorbed. This is also one of such source which has been used. Frustration vibration, chemi-absorbed as considered to be a strongly absorbed energy or surface part. Sound waves. Well, let us come to the sound waves. Sound waves is one important topic. Why we require this particular topic to understand is because phonons are nothing but a sound waves, because these are generated by the thermal energy, and thermal energy are present in that lattice site or lattice position vibrates in a form where it generates or it resonates, and entire periodic vibration resonates to form a sound wave. So generally, a lattice vibration is in the form of a sound wave, which creates a phonon part, which a set of wave part. So here again, sound wave constitute of two parts, longitudinal and transverse. Longitudinal is the vibration of atoms in the meanwhile, I mean the vibration of atoms through the propagation of the wave. Vibration of atoms perpendicular to the propagation of the wave is nothing but transverse. So if the propagation is parallel to the wave, then longitudinal. If the propagation is perpendicular, I mean atom perpendicular to the wave, is longitudinal. So you can also see in the presentation, the color denotes the wavelength, different wavelengths, and you can also see how many crusts and troughs makes these kind of different wavelengths and the color. Okay, fine. So phonon, let us start with the phonon. But the quantum of energy as of an elastic wave is nothing but the phonon, which is collection of that particular part. So the quantum of energy of an elastic wave is called as phonon. Unlike as the photon, what we have studied earlier, it's the same condition in this case. So which is a quantum energy of an electromagnetic wave. So almost all the concepts such as the wave particle duality, like as what we have studied in photons, apply in this case also. Hence, it is very important to understand the phonon part. Sound waves or elastic waves, what we consider for a crystal, are said to be composed of the phonons. Therefore, thermal vibrations in crystal are thermally excited phonons analogous to the thermally excited photons in a blackbody radiation. So when we consider a blackbody radiation, the excited energy is being provided by photon part, whereas in case of when it comes to thermal vibration, phonons are thermally excited in this condition. So both have the same criteria as the energy of the photon or the phonon is same, as we can consider it as equal to h nu. So it's a very important criteria for that. You can see from in the right hand side, the atom gets squeezed or compressed and I mean the compression and rarefaction of these atoms can also be provided in this such case. So which excites the phonons or thermal energy is being released. So unlike as photons, bosons, phonons, every other scenarios what we have studied in the previous condition criterias, even the phonons do have the conservation of the energy as well as momentum part. So can consider we have a valence band and a conduction band where the electron can excite to a conduction level, and again these electron will de-excite back to the allowed level of the energy. So which means in between, if the energy levels are not allowed or forbidden, or if the electron de-excite back to the lower energy level of the excited state, the while de-exciting or while emitting back, while emitting back, we can see that such electrons do undergo two types of conditions. One, radiative part. Two, non-radiative part. If such electrons undergo radiatively, which means it releases thermal energy in the form of a phonon, which we consider as phonon emissions. If it undergoes non-radiative part, then we cannot say it as a phonon part, because it is there is no thermal energy which is being excited. Thereby saying that, so wherever or whenever we see a radiative energy transition, a radiative transition, then the phonon emission can be occurred. So it's a very good analysis which we can make out from these particular such conditions. So in case of a equilibrium compression and dilation of two atoms, how does these equilibrium compression dilation and can be understood based on the band theory of solids? So here is a small glimpse which you can see from the in the right hand corner, top corner. So the energy gap will be same for equilibrium, whereas for the compression and dilation, you can see the creation of a hole as well as the electron jumping out of the excitation part, conduction level part. So here is certain quantum mechanical conditions where the creation of phonon or destruction of a phonon can happen by mixing of two states or two phonon getting together to form a higher conditions. So the creation of phonon, destruction of phonon can also be seen based on the Q dash, Q and Q double dash observed, kind of a something we can see in case of a Compton part or the scattering phenomena are considered. So even in case of phonons, they do undergo the scattering phenomena, which we're going to study in the later classes. So here is one important paper which I advise to every student to read, Raman cooling in a semiconductor by Gaurav Bal. So it is a paper is published in Nature Photonics in 2016. You can see in this particular paper where he has clearly so beautifully has explained about the phonon creation as well as phonon annihilation using the Stokes and anti-Stokes light scattering part. So it's one of the best paper which I have come across with the when to understand the phonon part. So if anyone is interested to read more, you can just go through this particular reference I have given in the end of the slide. Fine. The electromagnetic field and the massless particles is just a glimpse which we can understand how the symbol can be provided for for the particular massless particle and what is the field which is being available. In this case, we are considering only for the phonon, where the field is required is elastic field. So we can see the symbols how the electron, photon, phonon, plasma, and all the other symbols, fields are being provided. Let us come to the lattice vibration, because the topic is mainly focused on lattice vibration. So here is the lattice vibration part, where a classical theory which is developed to understand the how a small vibration or of an atom in a crystalline solid with respect to normal modes. Modes are considered, but how does the modes are varied? So how the independent motion are being changed, in what based on what concept we need to, what happens when amplitude is varied, wavelength is varied, phase is varied. Even phase is also very important when it comes to a particular part, which mean if I consider a crystal structure is considered in a crystal, if I use a unit lattice, in a unit lattice, the vibration of this amplitude, wavelength as well as the phase can be different to the neighboring lattice, unit lattice. So that constitutes some important understanding. We'll see it later. A normal mode has some amplitude in each cell, but varies from unit cell to unit cell in a crystal. So which can be certainly called it as a wave vector. Such a wave is called a lattice wave. Very important, I again repeat it. When a wave is being seen in a particular unit lattice, this wave will be varied from one lattice cell to another lattice cell, which can be made out in a general form as a wave vector. So this wave will be called as a lattice wave. So generally known as a lattice vibration. Let us come to the balls and spring model. So I do have a periodic atoms which have been bonded together. So these bondings are nothing but kind of a spring, and these atoms are balls. Hence, I call it as a balls and spring model or model of harmonic crystal. So when I consider a model which has a longitudinal wave or parallel to the cube edge, I repeat, longitudinal wave parallel to the cube edge along a 100 plane or one-dimensional plane chain. So such approximation is being considered for this particular uh, concept to understand. So because of the fact the longitudinal motion, the transfer springs on in this particular figure is absent. I repeat, there is no, I have not given any transfer part. I have just given only the longitudinal concept such that we can understand easily removing the transfer part. Fine. If that is the case, let me go back to the concept which we discussed in the introduction. A parent atom, what I call it as N, which gets the energy from the external source and get disturbed by their motion or on their periodic path. So which I consider that the internal energy obtained by that particular N atom can be termed as U of N with the displacement. So this displacement will be given to the nth atom towards left as well as nth atom towards right within the elastic limit. I repeat again, within the elastic limit. So now, if the energy is being provided to the left side, then I can consider it as k times, k is the spring constant or wave vector, you can consider u of n minus un minus 1 to the left side, and towards the right side, k of un plus 1 minus of un on the right side. Now, here comes the Newtonian physics. We need to make use of the F equal to ma, force equal to mass into acceleration. So how do we consider this particular concept in this case? It's very simple, because the force is exerted on that particular nth atom or n atom will automatically give out their energy towards its left or towards its right. So how does the harmonic wave generates, or how the harmonicity come into the picture? So because we are discussing about the harmonic vibrations, so harmonic vibrations is very important in this particular case. Hence the longitudinal part is being considered. So force equal to m into a, I can write it as m into d square u by dt square. So I think there is I'll just I think now you can see force equal to mass into acceleration, where m equal to d square u by dt square, which is equal to minus of kx. Now, if I go back to the condition where we have in the left side as well as right side, I can make use of entire term f equal to k times un plus 1 minus un. This is towards the right side of the atom, parent atom, and towards the left side, un minus un plus 1. So that is the total acceleration or total part which you have been considered for this case. So f equal to k times un plus 1 minus un minus of un minus un minus un minus 1. Or I know what is f, because f is m into d square u by dt square, which is equal to the right hand expression, where the harmonic vibration have been seen for the first atoms. Now for the solution, if I go for the solution of this particular expression, so what I will get is un equal to a exponential of I n kx minus ka minus omega t. So, or in case of x nth atom, you can go for xn of minus omega t. So that can also be termed. So where xn is the displaced atom from the nth atom, so this constitutes the equation of a wave traveling or traveling wave of the atom with the same frequency. I repeat, same frequency, because it's a harmonic concept. Now let us make use of these equation, because we need to constitute an equation, or we need to understand a derivation from, we need to make out a derivation from this particular part. So now by using equation 2 and 3, which is a force part, mass, acceleration, as well as the harmonic vibrations, substituting equation 2 and 3, we get some expression. How did we get this expression? Again, let me go back to the part m equal to d square u by dt square. Sorry, m equal to d square u by dt square equal to k times u of n plus 1 minus 2un plus un minus 1, which means here we did have some equation where minus of un, this 2 can become sorry minus 2un plus un minus 1. So that particular part has been taken here. Now we also know what is un, because for the solution what we have achieved is a exponential I nka minus omega t. So what I need to do, I need to double differentiate. So first let us go by one. So we know what is un, n a equal a exponential I kx minus omega t, or a exponential I nka minus omega t for the nth part. Now differentiating the un with respect to time t, so what we obtain is omega of I omega I a exponential I within the parenthesis nka minus omega t. That is the first differentiation of the sorry, u of n. Again, double differentiating with respect to t, what we obtain omega square I square a exponential of I nka minus omega t. So we know what I square is, so where I square equal to minus 1. So making use of this, what I can write, d square un by dt square equal to minus omega square a exponential of I nka minus omega t. So now what we have achieved, what we obtained is a exponential I nka minus omega t is termed as u of n. So I can make use of this entire expression as u of n, because we know what we started from u of n itself. So d square un by dt square equal to minus omega square into u of n, minus omega square into u of n. So now I'll make use of this expression here. So minus omega square m mass u of n equals right hand side, which is a harmonic vibration. So I'll make use of k times e of ika minus 2 plus e of minus ika into u of n. So now what is e of ika? E of ika is cos ka plus I sin ka. E to the power of minus ika is cos ka minus I sin ka. So that also you can see in the right hand side. So when I solve these inside expression of harmonic vibration, so what we obtain is e of ika, e to the power of plus ika minus 2 plus e to the power of minus ika can be written as cos ka plus I sin ka minus 2 plus cos ka minus I sin ka. So minus I sin ka minus I sin ka plus I sin ka gets cancelled. So what we obtain is 2 times cos ka minus 2. Again you can take equation e of ika minus 2 plus e of minus ika can be equated as 2 cos ka minus 2. So we use this expression or equation in this particular equation which we have been obtained. So minus omega square m u of n equals k times e to the power of ika minus 2 plus e to the power of minus ika, which is equal to 2k as taken as common within the parenthesis cos ka minus 1. So now where cos ka equals 2 cos ka can be written as e of ik, because if I take 2 as common in these, so 2 and in the left hand side, in the right hand side 2 can be cancelled to obtain 2 cos ka. So I can write it as e to the power of ika plus e to the power of minus ik. Now omega square into m equals 4k sine square of ka by 2. So this expression, what we have obtained, omega square m equals 4 times k sine square ka by 2. So if you solve the expression in top, that is 2k cos ka minus 1, and equate with this particular equation and make use of the expression e to the power of ika plus e to the power of minus ika, so we obtain sine square ka by 2. So or we can also equate it as, if we remove the square, omega equals root of 4k by m mod of sine ka by 2. So modulus is very important because that gives us whether which kind of which we're gonna see, positive or negative. We're gonna understand it later, the dispersion relation. So what we obtain here is equation 4, that is omega equal to root of 4k by m mod of sine ka by 2. So from the equation 4, a natural cutoff frequency is obtained. This natural frequency can be made use as maximum cutoff frequency, that is omega m. So that can be root of 4k by m. So to obtain the natural harmonic naturality or harmonic vibrations. So that the equation 4 can be written as omega equals omega m times the mod of sine of ka by 2. So which the equation 6 is considered to be the dispersion relation between the angular frequency omega and the wave vector k for a one-dimensional periodic lattice zone. Let us see how it works in the first Brillouin part using the lattice vibration condition. There exist two types of symmetry elements. One is translation symmetry, or the other one is the mirror symmetry. So translation symmetry and mirror symmetry are very important when it comes to the dispersion relation, which we have discussed earlier as equation 6. So the one-dimensional chain of atoms which undergoes a translational criteria for periodicity within the gap of A as a lattice parameter. So with this, which obtain a frequency of omega, that is it could be a harmonic frequency with the same amplitude and all. So where the k with the period of 2 pi by A. So the 2 pi by A is used for second Brillouin zone, whereas for the 2 plus or minus 2 pi by A is for second Brillouin zone, whereas for the first Brillouin zone it should be plus or minus pi by A with certain several values of k. So we also know what is the maximum cutoff vibrational frequency. In this case, it is root of 4k by m, which we earlier discussed in the session. So in this part, where the wave vector k, which is related to the wavelength of the given particular vibrational part, which is k equals 2 pi by lambda. Lambda is the wavelength in this case, which we're gonna see. So the extreme values of the k or wave vector will be achieved only at certain regions where we can understand as the extremes of the first Brillouin zone or second Brillouin zone, or it goes on. So in case of a first Brillouin zone, the plus pi by a and the minus pi by a is considered to be maximum, and that maximum you can see in the figure. So you can see in the plus pi by a, so we get maximum as 1. In the minus pi by a, you also see as the plus 1. I mean maximum concept, maximum intense. So using the k range values, we can confine our study with the first Brillouin zone or second Brillouin zone if we are interested for the second part. But we go for the first Brillouin zone where we are studying only for the one, the simple concept. So understand the concept, one-dimensional part. So the extreme values varies with respect to condition. In this case, the first Brillouin zone condition is pi by a, plus or minus pi by a. So here the mode k represents a wave of a same wavelength but traveling in opposite directions. So it's very important to understand this particular case. So here I end my talk, and we'll see in the next class.